Now that you've learned how to move, to capture, to check, and checkmate, as well as do the special moves in chess like castling and en passant, it's time for you to feel what it's like in a real game. In a real game, nobody is there to tell you what to move. You have to think and decide, what is the right move? Should I move a piece? Or can I capture something? Should I castle? Or try to promote one of my pawns? This is where the thinking part of chess comes in, and you have to try and decide what your best move is. The only way to do this is by looking at the board and considering both your options and your opponent's possible plans, and then trying to decide which move improves your position the most. Sometimes the right move will jump right out at you. Rook h8, checkmate. At other times, you'll have absolutely no idea what the best move is. Let's see if you can find a good move in each of the following positions. Black is currently up 3 pawns, so Black decides to offer a trade of queens, thinking it will be easier to win the game without having to deal with White's queen. Black didn't consider what the queen was doing on the 8th rank. Can you find White's best move? The Black queen gave up protection of the back rank and forgot to ask what checks White has in the position. White only has 1 check, but it's checkmate. If you found Queen e8 checkmate, great job. This checkmate is known as a back rank checkmate. In this position, after Rook a1 check, it looks like Black is about to deliver a back rank checkmate. What is White to do? Well, if White decides to block with Rook e1, notice that doesn't help because after Rook takes e1, it's checkmate. Let's look a little closer. Can you find another White piece that can help us deal with the check? If you found the move Bishop takes a1, great job. The bishop moves all the way from the other side of the board to come to the rescue, capturing the checking piece. Remember, if you can capture a checking piece, this can often be the best way to get out of check. In this position, what do you think is White's best move? If you're thinking Rook a8 delivering a back rank checkmate, you have to remember, it's not just your moves you have to consider, we also have to figure out what is our opponent doing. In this position, White's best move is also White's only move, because notice, White is in check. And in this position, White must deal with the check first and play King h1. Now Black has to be careful and deal with White's threat on the next turn. In this position, can you find White's best move? Notice that we can capture a pawn with Rook takes e4, but then Black is able to do the same thing with Knight takes a7. Remember, when you find a good move, always look for a better move. Don't forget about your pawn on a7. It's 1 move away from reaching the 8th rank. Do you remember what happens when a pawn reaches the other side of the board? That's right, the pawn gets a promotion. Notice the newly promoted queen puts the Black king into check and threatens the knight all at the same time. After king f7, queen takes c6 wins the knight. It takes time and practice to find the best move. Now it's your turn to continue practicing finding the best move. You know the rules and how to play, but now it's time to see the ideas you have learned put into action in an actual game. In this game, we'll see how 2 pieces working together can be a powerful force, and that a king surrounded by pieces isn't always safe. Let's take a look. White begins the game with e4, controlling the center and opening up lines for the queen and light-squared bishop. Black plays c6, a move we haven't seen yet. The idea is to prepare the move d5 on the next turn and attack the strong pawn on e4. White plays d4, controlling more space in the center and also opening up the dark-squared bishop. Black strikes back in the center with d5, threatening to capture the pawn on e4 on the very next move. When the opponent threatens to take one of our pieces, it's natural to feel worried. Remember, it's okay to make even trades, such as a pawn for a pawn. What you don't want is to give away your pieces for nothing. In this situation, White could push the pawn forward with e5, White could capture the pawn on d5, or, as in the game, protect the pawn and develop a piece with knight to c3. After d takes e4, Knight takes e4. White's knight recaptures the pawn and moves directly into the center. Black now plays knight to d7, developing a knight and also preparing the next move, knight g to f6, with the idea that if the knight gets captured, black is ready to recapture the knight, like that. The drawback to this move is the light-squared bishop is blocked, and also notice black's king has no moves. We'll take a look and see if that becomes a problem. White plays bishop to c4, activating the bishop to a powerful diagonal, and as you know, pointing at the weakest point in black's camp, f7. Black plays knight g to f6, attacking white's knight, and white plays knight to g5, avoiding the knight's attack and joining the light-squared bishop in attacking the f7 square. In this position, black should play e6, blocking the light-squared bishop's path to the f7 square, but black does not have a sense of danger in the position and plays h6, attacking the knight and assuming that it's going to move backwards. Can you find the move that immediately wins the game for white? That's right, bishop takes f7. White delivers checkmate, threatening to capture the king on the next turn, and notice black's king is surrounded, or should we say smothered, by its own pieces. It cannot escape the attack. You've learned a lot so far. Can you put your ideas into action? Let's prove it in the challenges.
Chapter 1 Video 5. You have completed our Chapter 1. Thank you for watching our video number 5. Chapter 1, Objectives 2 Part 3. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube video channel.